Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So I can't believe it's almost a quarter of the way through the year. In fact, a couple of days ago, it was 12 weeks since the beginning of the year. So I'm doing my week 12 update. This is for my crypto goals for 2019. If you haven't been following along, basically at the beginning of the year, I set out some goals for the year, and then I've been doing what would have been sort of monthly updates, but I'm doing them every 4 weeks. It just makes it a little bit easier to collate the stats. So we will at the end of the year have one extra update, so there'll be 13 updates rather than 12 if we're doing it on a monthly basis rather than 4 weekly. But basically at the beginning of the year, I set myself a target for different revenue streams. So there are 5 different revenue streams: masternode revenue, staking revenue, trading revenue, investing / hodling, and then social and other. And basically I set a target of $100 a week for each of these different kind of goals. Now the masternode and staking ones, I do regular updates, and I talk in a bit more detail about those kind of on a weekly basis, but the other ones I just go over every 4 weeks. So let's jump in and have a look and see how things have been going so far. So this is fundamentally a quarter of the way through the year. As I mentioned, we'll have one last update right at the end of the year, but we're about a quarter of the way through now. So we've got a little bit more data than we have done on the previous updates to see how things are going. And in all of these graphs, we have a green line and a blue line. The green line is the cumulative revenue that we would have made if we were doing $100 a week for each one. So this is cumulative amounts. And then the blue lines at the bottom is how much we have actually made. And starting with staking, obviously it's been very slow start to the year. It was always going to be one of the slower kind of starts. I always thought kind of staking and social would probably be the most difficult to get anywhere near the targets. Obviously with the staking, we are sort of accumulating and compounding the stakes to stake kind of more coins as we go on. I do have plans to get some different coins as well. I've got Ontology that I'm planning to stake quite soon. I'm just waiting for a price that I'm happy kind of buying in at, and then hopefully Cardano and various other kind of coins later on the year. Decred I quite like. I'm looking to get involved in that as well. So the upshot is very small amounts of staking so far. Nothing kind of crazy. We're making a few dollars a week. Based on these kind of figures here, if we were to get no more coins and just carry on staking with this amount of coins, we'd need something like a 20x increase in kind of prices across the board in order to be doing our $100 a week. So we are reliant really on not just accumulating a large number of coins, but also some pretty substantial kind of price increases if we're going to get anywhere near our goal. Now masternodes have been a little bit more successful. If you can see here, there seems to be a little bit of a tailing off on the graph here. The first few weeks were pretty good, and then we did have some issues. So we had obviously the bulwark price dropping substantially, which affected the amount we were making on a weekly basis. And then for a few weeks here, we were without our smart cash smart node. So the smart node collateral went from 10,000 for running a smart node to 100,000. And a couple of weeks ago, we bought back in at 100,000 when the price went down a little bit. So going forward, that should help our revenue. But with the masternode experiment, I picked 6 masternodes at the beginning of the year. It's, I suppose, quite interesting. Out of the 6 coins I initially kind of picked, one within the first week, one we had to switch out. So we had to switch out a Chroma for Volcano. And then we had obviously kind of an issue with Bulwark, with the price particularly, and then we had the smart node kind of issue, so the collateral changing substantially. So there's even though there are only 6 kind of smart nodes, 3 of them have been pretty affected by one thing or another going forward. 3 of them have just run pretty reliably. We missed days here and there of kind of masternode revenue, particularly when you have to do a wallet upgrade, VPS upgrade, something like that. You can lose some kind of rewards, but it's been, apart from, you know, some of the issues as you kind of mentioned, it's been relatively kind of straightforward, and we are not far off 25% of where we would like to be. I think right at the first couple of months, first couple of weeks of the year, we were around that sort of $20–25 mark, which would be 25% of where we needed to be. So as I mentioned, we've dropped a little bit here and there, but I'm anticipating this picking up a little bit more, particularly with the smart node, the increased collateral. So it's making the equivalent of what would have been 10 of the original kind of smart nodes at 10,000. So anyway, going forward, hopefully, you know, some increases in kind of price will help this. But as I mentioned, I'm not going to add any more master nodes into it. It was really, you know, a case of kind of picking ones that I thought had the potential to kind of make the amounts I wanted. But I didn't want to go for anything kind of crazy. It would have been easy to say, okay, we'll just, you know, throw in a couple of PivX master nodes and some extra kind of stuff in order to hit the targets. But I really wanted to be going for stuff that was maybe a mixture of kind of like really kind of like low cost, small kind of cap, maybe some slightly more reputable sort of like longer running masternodes, but nothing that was kind of like crazy price wise. And then see how the increase in price hopefully during the year will affect this. So if we had a 4 times increase in price across the board, we should be pretty much there or thereabouts with our $100 a week target. So moving on, trading has been probably one of the most successful so far. It was one I talked about right at the beginning that I thought it might be nearer to the kind of goals straight off the kind of bat, and it's proved to be that way. We're about halfway towards our target. We averaged about $50 a week rather than the $100. So obviously, if the prices went up a bit, if the prices were kind of double, you know, our profits would have been doubled and would be bang on. Now, I appreciate that the type of movements of kind of coins and the way that I kind of trade, which is basically shorting some of these kind of small cap coins that I actually hold when they pump in price and then kind of buying back at a low level. That isn't necessarily the kind of case in a bull market as it is in a kind of bear or flat market. But despite that, I've been reasonably kind of happy with the way the trading's gone. I've had, I think, 4 trades that have gone against me a little bit. I've jumped in a little bit late and sort of come out a little bit early on some of those. Maybe my patience isn't as good within some of these kind of things. But overall, it's been a pretty decent kind of experiment so far. We've made almost $600, so it's not been a bad start to the year. And if we do get a small increase in prices, we should be there or thereabouts with the trading revenue, certainly, hopefully, in the next quarter, if not the one after that. And then fourth revenue stream, so we're talking about investing revenue now. As I've mentioned before, this is based on my investment portfolio, which I talked about last year. So it's not a crazy amount of kind of coins, only a smallish number. We had this big spike the first week of the year, so it got off to a really good start, over $1,000 up just that kind of first week, and then we had that big pullback, another pullback. So week 4 was the kind of worst, and we've been climbing up since then. We had another little kind of pullback here between weeks 7 and 9, but the general trend, I think, you know, even from after this kind of first week, so from week 2, has been a general upward trend. And the actual kind of like, if you threw a trend line through these ones, it would be basically on track to where we're looking to go. Now, we are a bit behind because we had this big kind of pullback, but I'm pretty confident that the investment revenue will reach and exceed this kind of line, hopefully maybe in the next kind of 4 weeks or so. But yeah, I think we're in a pretty kind of strong position. I didn't have like a huge, it wasn't like, you know, kind of 2 or 3% increase in kind of prices would have pushed us through this, push us above the line. But I'm pretty confident that we can get there with a little bit of a recovery in the prices of coins. And then lastly, we have social and other revenue. Now, I thought this, along with staking, would be probably a slow starter, and it's proved to be. So I probably only make about $5 a week from YouTube, something like that from YouTube advertising revenue. I get the occasional affiliate sale, so people sign up to stuff like kind of Vulture through my affiliate link for running masternodes. So I think I get $10. And the person who signs up gets $10 as well. And I've had a few of those, so thanks very much for everybody who's signed up through my link. So I do get little kind of spikes up. You can see one there. But basically, it's been very, very kind of slow. Now, I think this is going to really struggle to get anywhere near the targets. I think the only thing that could really kind of save this is if we had like a really big bull run this year, you know, really big spike up in price. I think that would then drive a lot more interest in kind of like general population, and I think, you know, maybe views on videos and stuff like that would increase kind of exponentially as well. So I'd like to get to the kind of 10,000 odd subscriber mark. I'm just over, I think I'm about 4,200, something like that at the moment. So I am getting some more subscribers. They're trickling in, you know, a couple of days, something like that. So not massive kind of increases, not increasing as fast as I would like. I'd like to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. But I think, you know, people involved in the kind of space, you know, tend to find channels they like and kind of subscribe to them. And I'm seeing a lot more sort of continuity, I think, in kind of people commenting and stuff like that who have been around a while. But we're not seeing that kind of influx of people who are really interested in crypto. And that's pretty much driven entirely by kind of price. I think once prices start to kind of go up, particularly when we get back towards those kind of 20,000 kind of Bitcoin level, and I think we'll see then the start of a, you know, a really big kind of surge of interest. People who, you know, missed out last time will be looking to kind of get back in, jump back in. So I think that will generate a lot of interest. There'll be a lot more people looking at kind of crypto related videos. So hopefully as the year goes on, if we get a nice kind of like run up second half of the year, something like that, we can start to take advantage of, you know, that added interest. But until then, I think, you know, the chances of this increasing dramatically is pretty slim. And then overall here we've got the total revenue. So we had that little spike, which was largely driven by the investment portfolio that first week. And this is almost like a flattened down version of that investing kind of revenue. So the other revenue streams, as the years kind of gone on, as the months and weeks have gone on, have smoothed some of that out. So we are seeing some of the additional kind of revenue things, masternode revenue, trading, stuff like that, increasing the amounts on that kind of investing. The investing side of thing still has probably the biggest kind of grip and probably got the biggest opportunity kind of like to change them. But as the year kind of goes on, the amount of revenue coming in, hopefully from masternodes and other things, will start to kind of flatten out a little bit more. But we were hoping for 6,000, so that would have been 500 a week, and we are currently at about 1350, 1360, something like that. This week 12 was a little bit disappointing, so we had quite a nice run up, and then there was a dip down when these prices were taken. And now we've increased again. So I think it would have been a day or two either side would have been a little bit further up. But anyway, that's you know, neither here nor there really. We are you know, about 25%, almost 25% of where we need to be in terms of the overall kind of goals. Some are going better than others, as I said. Pretty pleased with the trading thing, the investing. Apart from that first kind of couple of weeks, or the sort of second and third weeks where we had this massive kind of like pullback, has been pretty much in line with the kind of markets in general. So we're seeing like a gradual kind of uptrend here, despite the sort of like fluctuations on a weekly basis. And then finally, let's jump over to these graphs. So these are my coin accumulation targets. These aren't tied into the other goals. These are just some coins. So there's 8 coins here. They're ordered by market cap, or they were when I kind of started at the beginning of the year. So these were just kind of like targets, long-term targets, where I'd like to get to. I think if I had hit my kind of targets for all of these, you know, particularly before the next kind of bull run, be in a very strong position. I don't anticipate doing that before the next bull run, but I'm sort of, an overview is like, you know, I'm trying to look at these kind of coins. I'm buying in when, you know, the price is down. I actually sold some Cardano this last month. The price has spiked quite a bit, and I swapped that into different coins, but no big changes. Got a few more XRP, got quite a few more Stellar this month, another couple of Neo, tiny bit of kind of Tron, but nothing kind of crazy. Stellar, we're not far off, halfway towards the kind of goal. Everything else substantially down. Neo 25% towards our goal, everything else a bit below that. But this is just sort of like an overall that I kind of like bear in mind when I'm looking to kind of maybe reinvest staking and masternode profits or anything like that. Anyway, that's it for this video. My plans going forward for the next few weeks and kind of months. Staking, as I mentioned, I'm looking to invest in some more coins. So Ontology, Cardano, when the staking for that arrives, it would be good. And maybe Decred, I'm looking to kind of add to the kind of portfolio. Masternodes, just going to run as it is with those 6 masternodes and not planning to make any changes. Trade, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing really with this. Pretty happy with how it's going. The investing one, again, I'm not actually buying that many kind of coins at the moment, just because I don't have that much disposable income, unfortunately, at the moment to kind of invest more in crypto. I would like to be buying in sort of on a weekly kind of basis a bit more than I am really at the moment. I think the sort of 4,000 or below level is a really good kind of accumulation price. That's not financial advice. I'm not advising you to do that, but I'm quite comfortable investing for the long term at around these kind of like prices that we have at the moment. And then finally, the social, just trying to keep to my sort of 3 videos a week. I'm going to be maybe doing some videos from CoinFest. I'm planning to go to CoinFest, which is in Manchester in the UK, at the end of next week. If anybody's around and going up there, leave me a kind of comment. It'd be good to catch up maybe for a beer or something. But that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Ask me any questions in the comments below, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.